I'm Dr. Shay. I'm a physician over here at Protea Medical Center in Tempe, Arizona. And today I am talking to you about stress and how that can affect people differently. And so when we think about stress, we can think about it as allostatic load, which is essentially going to be the cumulative burden of stress or the cost of chronic stress on our body long term. We can also think of stress resilience, so essentially how adaptable we are to stressors and our recovery time, how quickly we can bounce back from chronic stress. Now, when we have periods of chronic stress with low stress resilience, that increases our allostatic load. When our allostatic load is increased, this is when we see effects on blood work. So, for example, looking at increased allostatic load, increased stress on the body can look like hormone imbalances. It can look like nutrient deficiencies. We may also see high levels of inflammatory markers, just to name a few. When we're thinking about stress and its impacts on the body and how to become more resilient, there are a few different things at play. So we know that genetics, epigenetics, and early childhood events all can change how we adapt to stress or our stress resilience. Genetics essentially are going to be what we're born with. We can't change them. Then we have epigenetics. Those are going to be environmental factors that we can implement that can turn specific genes on or off. And then we have early childhood events. When we think about genetics, we can think about it as a forest. That's the way I like to think about it, with lots of different trees that are in place that have been there for a long time, essentially since conception. Then we can think about epigenetics being more of like the gardeners in the forest, where they're not going to chop down the trees, they're not going to plant new ones, but what they can do is they can water and shade and tend to the ones that we want to tend to, and they can kind of ignore or not water the ones that we don't want to. So, when it comes to becoming more resilient to stress, there's going to be foundations that are crucial to improving that resilience. For example, when we look at our sleep patterns, it's going to be optimal to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, eliminating screens about an hour before we go to sleep, falling asleep at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every morning. The body thrives off of routine. That's going to be crucial. Then we have our diet. So, for example, if we're noticing a heavy allostatic load, high burden, high inflammatory markers, we may need to implement things like an anti inflammatory diet or anti inflammatory type foods into the diet. Those are going to be foods that are high in omega 3s, things like fatty fish, so like trout or salmon, sardines. Walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, all of those can be high in omega 3s. We also like to think about magnesium rich foods. Magnesium can be more of like a natural relaxant. And so dark green leafy veggies like spinach and kale, pumpkin seeds, almonds, those are rich in magnesium. We also want to take a look at community. And so often feeling actively engaged within our community is very important for our stress resilience. We live in such a digital world. It's hard to plug in and be engaged with people in the physical realm. So finding, cooking classes or something you enjoy, gym classes, spending time with loved ones, all of that's really important. Then we like to look at mindfulness activities. Things like yoga or meditation or nature walks can be very important and effective when it comes to increasing stress resilience. We also like to look at exercise. And so, exercise is essential when looking at the impacts of chronic stress on the brain specifically. So, exercise increases something called brain derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. That helps with neuron production and neural pathways and is neuroprotective or protective to the brain. Not to mention, when we exercise, we get more of the additional feel good endorphins that are released. So it's a good natural anti anxiety in and of itself. We know stress can affect the brain and can cause neural pathways to not fire the same. And so that's where exercise and those neuroprotective benefits are really going to be essential there. Staying hydrated is also important. So for most people, that's going to be about half of our body weight in ounces of water every single day. When we look a little bit deeper at your blood work, I always tell patients when they come in, I like to get to know them, obviously get to know their health concerns, their goals, really what they're here for, and the symptoms that they're experiencing. After that, we can determine which blood work to run. Based off that blood work, I basically pair how the patient's feeling with their biochemistry individualized to them. And that's where we can really come up with a solid treatment plan that's going to address things that we are seeing affected in your body. When we think about stress resilience, often we also look at other hormonal imbalance, not just stress hormones. So looking at things like sex hormones, which also can have added benefit on proper sleep and just feeling better overall. I hope you found this helpful. We hope to see you in the clinic soon. You deserve to feel your best, and that's really what we're here for, to help you be your best self and to achieve your health goals and feel optimal. Even when we talk about community, having a naturopathic doctor on your team can be so important in helping you achieve your goals and really supporting you along the way. So hopefully we'll see you soon.